for that.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very
Now,
much.
listen, now is Q&A time. So if you guys had any questions that were raised during Nuno's presentation, raise your hands, make yourselves known. Our volunteers are walking around with microphones. We have a man in a brown hoodie over there. We've got people all over the place. So, Nuno, have a seat over here and face your questioners.
Yes, we'll do. With pleasure. This is the fun part. Let's go for it.
Hey,
Hello.
you said that you basically took it for granted that unbridled and absolutely unlimited access to information for everyone, anywhere, at any time, is a positive thing. But you've surely heard the idiom that ignorance is bliss. So why do we take it for granted that anyone can access any information on the internet, including malicious information, including misinformation, and all the dangers the internet brings with it?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question. That's a very important question. When scientists create a technology, what happens? Let's say fire. When we created fire, fire can be used to cook food or to burn a forest. When we built a knife, it can be used to cut food or for eating. It can be used to protect us from someone to harm us, but it can also be used to kill somebody. The same for a gun. When you have a gun, you can use it to protect an innocent person, or you can use it to kill somebody. So when scientists and engineers, and that's why the question is brilliant, when scientists and engineers create something, every new technology can be used for good or for evil. It's up to us how we decide to use it. Now, how do we do in society? So how do we protect society? We create courts, legislation, police, and entities that will ensure that, they'll do their best, right? They will do their best to ensure that for those of us who are not good intentioned, or that are not, they don't have the intentions to do good for society or for others, that there's a way to protect people from those who are not having the intentions we want them to have. So the question is brilliant because it reports to the most important fact in any new technology. As a society, and that's why we're talking about this, as a society, we have to start working on the policies, the legislation, the protection systems. Cryptography can be used to protect data, to avoid that somebody has access to what they should not have access to. Did I answer the question? Kind of? Kind of? Sure.
Thanks for your question. Does anyone else have a question? Raise your hand. We've got people on this side. Oh, wow, all over the place. Where's the nearest one? Oh, we have someone there.
So
yep,
my
cool.
question would be that you were talking about that. So, for example, I have something what I know, but I don't want to know. So I have a secret.
Right.
And in that word which you were describing, I have the access to anybody's brain, or so did I understand this true, or?
Good point. No. Another great question. Privacy.
Yeah, so the question was, what I would like to ask is that in that word, let's say that somebody has access to everybody's brain who has the connection to this cloud.
Right.
And how can I protect my privacy in that cloud and in that system?
Question, privacy. Let's do an analogy. Cell phones. On my cell phone, I have access to my email. I have my files there. I have many of my thoughts there. The work I do, I type it either on my computer or my cell phone. So today, we have computers and cell phones where we have a lot of our information. How do we secure privacy today? How do we do it? We have passwords, right?
Yes, but there is a big difference between
cell
phones.
I'll go there. Just one sec. I'll go there. No, you're right. I'll go there. So the analogy is, first of all, the analogy is, we're going to have the cryptography. Cryptography allows us to do the following, which is we can introduce information, read information, without giving access to it to others. It's a way to communicate with machines, ensuring that the information we put on our computer is only accessible to us or the ones we allow to. Sharing permissions. That's what we do in Google, right? So obviously, or likely, we will not want others to have access to our thoughts. The same way, we don't want our cell phone to be accessible to every single one of you. But on Instagram, I don't mind sharing photos. So I will decide, as of today, what I want to share and what I don't want to share. And some mathematical tools, like cryptography, can be used, and others, to protect information and separate what I want to show of what I want to, not expose to the community. So it's a similar system. So in a certain way, once we have access to the cloud directly from the brain, we want to make sure that these devices will only allow us to have access to the information that we want to share, right? Can it be hacked? Yeah, but I'll leave that question for the following. I was going ahead of myself. That was too much. Did it help?
Yeah, I would wanted to ask about what happens when our brain gets hacked.
Yeah, that's so, okay. Perfect. Well, that's a great question. That's a great question, by the way. Okay, so obviously the technology we have for today to avoid hacking is very much based, again, on a little bit like the concept of bitcoins as we have today. So cryptography is underlying the security system that we have. But how do we do, for example, with wallets on Bitcoin? What kind of technology do you use? What you know as blockchain technology, right? So blockchain technology is an example of how we can use cryptography to encode the data and protect the data. Certainly, with the brain, we have to be 100% sure that this will not happen. But again, in any new technology, sometimes it's not possible to make it 100%. But for sure, when it comes to market, we're going to have the policies, the legal systems, the cryptography, and all the necessary tools to ensure that it's extremely safe, okay? It might not be 100% safe. Some government somewhere extremely advanced may have an opportunity to go there, but more and more we're becoming, and this is very important, that's why your question is fantastic, because more and more we have to trust each other in the sense that we have to educate for values. People have to understand their role in society. We're all responsible for everybody. If we have good intentions, if our values are well established, we don't have an issue. But for those values to be established, we have to ensure, and that's why the philanthropy is important, that everyone around the world has good quality of life. If everyone around the world has a social structure, has a family, has a house, has food on the table, it's very likely that we will have a better world and that the problems you're mentioning are very unlikely to happen. And that's why the philanthropy work I do is something I really value. We need to build a better world for everyone. It's a moral responsibility, and it's something that we need to do for everyone's benefit. It's not just for those who are in need, it's also for us, for everybody.
Great. I hope that answered your question. Looks like we have time for one more question. Do we have? Yes, we've got this woman on this side. Black turtleneck.
That's fair.
Hi, hello. You talked about need and everyone. Don't you think there will be some people who are skeptical and wouldn't want to accept this new technology?
Absolutely. Great question. It's important to understand this. First rule on this technology, in my humble opinion, everyone has the right to use it or not. The same way today, again, let's do an analogy today. There's people around the world who don't want to use cell phones. They don't want to use laptops. And the first rule of a civilized society is the right to choose. Everyone has the right to choose. Everyone has the right to say if they want it or not. We may be convinced this is something fantastic, but everyone has the right to choose if they want to use it or not. That's a fundamental pillar of a civilized society. Brilliant question, thank you.
Sorry, Sid.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, may I ask? Here.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. Here.
There you go.
So if we put the privacy issues aside,
Right.
my question is, in the future of brain-to-brain interaction, there is the possibility, at least somehow I'm quoting Elon Musk, that the language, natural language which we are speaking now would somehow be a past or a history. And this is quite a huge threat to the human language because according to him, and I disagree with him because he's not a philosopher, he's an engineer. So he's saying that the language which we are speaking is just encoding in a low bandwidth the thoughts which are going on the brain.
Right.
But I don't think that this is true. For example, Heidegger says that language is the house of existence because language is not only a tool to communicate, but it's also the tool to think. So we cannot think without a language.
I'm going to have to push you to actually ask a question. I'm sorry.
This is the question, that if we go with this technology to its end, where could we stop? If we investigate this brain-to-brain interaction without a language,
Right.
who would tell us, like, okay, let's stop here because this is dangerous?
Yeah, well, first question, language. All our cultural developments make us who we are. The way we dress, the way we speak, the way we think, reflect what our parents taught us, what our friends, what we learned with our friends. So society, helps us build who we are. And your question is, will we lose some of these characteristics by connecting the brain to another brain or to the cloud? Seems unlikely. Let me explain you why. As of today, there's already real-time translation systems available. So we pick up a cell phone, I'll talk in Portuguese, and it will translate to Hungarian. The Hungarian person will speak in Hungarian, and the device will translate to Portuguese. So we have this today. We have real-time translation in cell phones available today, in a single app. Did it change how we think? No. It did empower us to fluidly communicate with others. It eliminated the language barrier. For example, one of the previous talks was in Hungarian. Apart from the kozanom, I don't know many other words. So I will try to learn later on. Hopefully in one of the next editions I'll present in Hungarian. I'll be proud to do it. But this would empower me to attend the talk. I would really like to attend the talk. But the language barrier didn't allow me to access any information I wanted to. And this is where the technology is powerful. It will allow you to have access to something you cannot. Again, can it be used to destroy our individuality? It's a real danger. It's a good question. It's a real danger. But that's why we have museums. And we don't need to forget our language. We can continue to think in Hungarian or Portuguese or English, and we will always remember our roots. But whenever we need this technology, whenever we go to a new country, we don't need to learn the language. We can simply understand it. This will allow all the 8 billion people in the world to communicate.
Right.
And communication is fundamental for peace.
Thank you for your question.
Great question.
I hope that was answered
very
effectively. We are out of time, but if you guys have any more questions, I do encourage you to get in touch with Nuno via his website or on his social media. And stick around, because we're going to be addressing a really interesting topic, which is, would you fight for your country? So stick around, and give it up one more time for Nuno Martins, everyone.
You guys, thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much for coming.
Sorry.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.